Hello, YouTube friends. It's been a hot minute since I've made something for YouTube, but I was filming a reel for Instagram earlier and the 90-second limit wasn't going to cut how much I wanted to talk about our serratus anterior, one of the most important muscle groups you want to focus on when we're working on arms overhead flexibility. So today we're going to talk about what is this muscle and why do we care about what it does when we're reaching our arms overhead, and how can we strengthen this. So our serratus anterior is one of the prime protractors of the shoulder blade. It attaches from the underside of our shoulder blade to the sides of our ribs, and when it contracts, it pulls our shoulder blade forwards in space. You can even feel this in your own body if you grab kind of a fleshy bit on the underside of your armpit and reach the arm as far forwards as it's going to go. You'll feel some of those muscles tensing up to pull those shoulder blades forwards. Those are your serratus anterior. Why we care about this for arm overhead flexibility: when we're reaching our arms overhead, ideally what we want to happen, there's a couple of things happening with our shoulders and our collarbone, but one of the big ones is we need our shoulder blade to come forward slightly and upwardly rotate as that arm's reaching overhead. What this does is it repositions the socket of the shoulder to be angled farther up so we can literally reach back farther in space. You can feel this in your own body by trying to reach your arms overhead first, by squeezing your shoulder blades together. Keep them squeezing. Try to lift those arms in front of you. They're not going to go that high. Eventually, they're going to get stuck. You're going to get some bone-on-bone impingement happening in the top of your shoulder because you're limited with how high we can reach them. If instead, we reach our arms forwards first, so we're going to help those shoulder blades side forward, notice how much easier it is to reach those arms higher and farther back. That's because we're going with one of the natural movements we want to be happening with our shoulder. There's more happening than that. This whole thing is called glenohumeral rhythm, and it describes shoulder blades, the collarbone, and upper arm are doing the lifting arms overhead. But for today, we're just talking about the forwards component of how we want that shoulder blade to slide. So a couple of different ways we can strengthen these muscles. Easiest way is just arms in the air. So not even a lot of body weight, working on reaching the arms forwards and pulling them backwards. Not having the ribs move, just starting to feel this little bit of a squeeze through the underside of the armpit. If that's feeling comfortable, we can add body weight and turn these into scapular push-ups. So you could do these on hands and knees in a tabletop position, pushing our hands into the floor, keeping the arms straight as we lift the chest, and then relaxing that chest back down. Don't bend the elbows like a regular push-up. We only want the chest moving in relation to the upper arms. If you want more of a challenge, you can send the knees backwards and do this more in a kneeling plank, or you could do them in a traditional plank position, as long as those elbows are staying straight. But my personal favorite variation is learning to use these muscles when our arms in a position that's more similar to what they're like when they're overhead. So instead of having our arms in front of our chest, we're going to be starting with arms overhead, elbows on yoga blocks, elbows bent, hands together in a prayer pose. And from here, I'm going to think about actively taking the outside of my armpit, pressing it down towards the floor as I lift my chest and my belly ever so slightly. So we're actively wrapping those shoulder blades towards the sides of our chest and towards the floor, and then relax. Lifting the chest as those shoulder blades reach down and relax. So it's important that this isn't just happening from me pushing into my elbows. I'm really thinking about reaching the outside of my armpit down. So hug those shoulder blades, or scap wrap. Wrap the scapula as we're lifting and dropping our chest. For these types of drills, 8 to 12 reps should be a fine range of what you're working on. And you could even do a pre and post test to see how they affect your range of motion. So before you do these drills, see what your range of motion is in your shoulders when you're trying to reach your arms backwards. Do a couple of the sets of our nice serratus engagers and strengtheners, and then see if you've got a little bit more range afterwards. So hopefully that gives you a little extra boost in your arms overhead shoulder flexibility training. If you like this style of video, let me know in the comments, or if you have requests for future topics, let me know and I can do more videos like this in the future.